We're in San Diego.
Yes.
So everyone that's not in San Diego is probably really wishing they were in San Diego.
It's nice out today. We may hear some fighter jets actually fly over us this morning.
We are very close to Top Gun.
About a mile behind us is Miramar.
Yes. My workout partners are they work on base.
Iceman might stop by in a little bit. We only have
Yes.
20 minutes, so.
Yeah, so we're just going to play this for a minute, and you guys can jam. But some of you are going to be listening to this later anyway, so enjoy.
Oh,
So, Per, tell me what your favorite part of Top Gun was.
man, that was a while back. I have to think about this.
You didn't watch it like 20 times like I did?
I wasn't that interested in sweaty dudes with jeans playing volleyball. Wasn't quite my thing. I guess the action sequences, pretty cool fighter jet sequences.
I enjoyed the inversion scene, giving the birdie.
Giving the bird.
Yeah. Sometimes I'd like to really do that, but not online. I won't do that online. But
This is a family show.
yes. All right, we've
All
got
right.
another 30 seconds before we get started. We are starting this thing at 9:30. We are ending no later than 9:50.
9:50.
This is a 20-minute. It's not 60 minutes. This is 20 minutes. Okay,
So-
Top Gun.
So we'll keep the jibber jabber to a minimum.
Yes, no jibber jabber.
Jibber jabber less. All right, so welcome to, this is called Your Healthy Business. This is the fourth episode of what we've done.
Yep.
And we've decided that this week is about low back workshops. So you can extend this to other workshops as well, but low back is the particular topic that we're focusing on.
We're the hosts too.
We're
Your
at-
host,
Host,
Per Larson,
Yes.
CEO of Movement RX. He makes it happen here.
I just pretend.
And I am Dr. Teresa Larson, clinical director, president of Movement RX, and all things creative movement training.
All the good stuff.
But he makes it all happen business-wise.
This is our board member,
Yeah, Skelly.
Skelly,
And we have a
Skelly No
question
Stomach.
here. Do you recommend a skeleton model for the workshops or something else? Actually, so we will address this. Thank you, Gerald. We'll address this at the end. We're going to go through our list. But good question.
Yes. I have Dr. T dress up in a skeleton outfit sometimes. That it doesn't really fly, but it's fun to watch.
At workshops.
So why are we doing low back workshops? So we've low back pain is obviously a common thing throughout the world. We're talking mostly the West developed countries in the work that we do, but it's a very common thing. Healthcare understands it, fitness understands it, companies understand it. It's one of the higher between that and mental health. Those are two of the most commonly mentioned health claims that are causing problems qualitatively and quantitatively, meaning dollars, in businesses. And so we've found recently, especially in the last 2 years maybe, a lot of interest in low back pain and how to preemptively do things to help that. So we've done it for years through workshops, and so we're going to talk about workshops today. So from a corporate wellness standpoint, I said benefits managers, HR folks we have a lot of people asking us to do those types of workshops for their companies. And in the last 6 months or so, we've had hundreds of physios and chiros and gym owners ask, how do I do a low back workshop? So here we are. We've done, I don't know.
A lot.
Yeah, we just started this. It wasn't necessarily strategic at the beginning when we started doing these, but it seemed like a great way to get in front of folks. But we've done, who knows, 180, 200-ish of these things, anywhere from an hour to 8 hours long. They've been in places like Sydney and Sao Paulo and here in San Diego, and there have been other places that don't start with the letter S that we've done workshops.
Yeah, that's right. Think about all the places we've been with the letter S.
Well, it's too early. We don't have enough coffee to really make those wheels turn that quickly, so we won't
This is
bore
why
you
he's
with
so
that.
observant of those things.
So let's, from running a workshop's not hard, right? It's a little bit of planning and a dash of boldness, and you get out there in front of folks and you build credibility. There are many, many things that we've learned, and probably many, many things we have forgotten and had to relearn and will relearn as we continue to do this. But what we wanted to say is that workshops are a great way to optimize your impact in your community, whether that's your workplace, whether that's your healthcare facility, whether that's your fitness facility, or maybe just somebody who wants to get out there in a park and help folks who are with back pain. So we're gonna, as usual, talk about our individual top 5 things that we've learned from running workshops, low back workshops over the last half dozen years. So we'll start with number 5 and work down, trying to build the suspense. So Dr. T, if you would start off with your number 5.
Okay. My number 5, so this is great for all you professionals, health professionals out there that just thrive with one-on-one, but are scared of the group environment. And actually the number 1 stressor for people is public speaking. So my number 5 is it gets you out of your comfort zone significantly. And when I was first asked to do these 8-hour-long seminars with Mobility WOD, and then also present locally here in San Diego and across the country with Movement RX, it was scary. And every time I went to speak, I, sweat, nervous for weeks. It's not easy. However, I knew in my heart, and I knew that it was going to be very powerful if I got used to doing this and got better at public speaking, because I knew that the message I had can help a lot of people, and just doing one-on-one wasn't going to get me the kind of impact that I wanted. I wanted to impact a lot of people at one time, because I felt like in the preventative world of medicine, like if you can teach someone a couple skills in 1 hour, in a 1-hour session, like that can change the course of their life, right? You can do that one-on-one, but if you can change 30 people, 40, 50 at one time, that's huge. So it got me out of my comfort zone. It is the number 1 stressor, but the more I did it, the more reps I put in, the better I got. So if you go back and look at like videos, or if any of you have ever been to one of my courses 4 or 5 years ago, it may have taken me 10 minutes to get 1 point out. Whereas now I can say a point and it will take me 30 seconds to a minute. It's skill set. Never feel like you have to be perfect from the get-go. You just have to get yourself out there and be bold and do it.
Maybe we should go back and get some videos from 2013 and post those and see how they look.
Oh my gosh.
They're a little awkward.
They're dark. I remember doing one in Costa Rica where I was literally talking with a yoga instructor, and it's dark, and I don't know what I was saying. I was talking in circles, and it took me like 15 minutes to say 1 point. Anyway.
Economy of words.
We just did it.
Okay, my turn.
What's your 5?
My top 5, this is number 5. So workshops are the best marketing you can do if you're a local business in healthcare fitness, hands down, from an ROI standpoint, return on investment. Your standing in your community is key to your long-term success. And so being out there in front of folks offers an opportunity from, if you think about a customer journey, low barrier to entry for them. They don't have to commit much. It's information gathering stage in terms of where they're at, but it's an amazing way to build some credibility in front of folks. And as long as you have it set up with your calls to action, et cetera, and follow-ups, which we'll talk about here, it's an amazing opportunity to create credibility, develop relationships, turn those folks into customers, members, or patients as necessary, with very little output and just some time and a little bit of stress if you're the speaker. That's my number 5. What do you think about it?
I think it's great.
This is something that you learn as spouses doing business. Just smile and wave.
I think it's spot on.
Thank
That's
you.
why you're the CEO.
Number 4 for you. What's your number 4?
Okay. So I think it's a great lead magnet for your practice. So it's been a great lead magnet for me. So we're a cash pay practice here in San Diego, and we do one-on-one services as part of our job, and then we have the corporate wellness solutions and business-to-business sides of our business. Say that enough times. Okay. Anyway, it's a great lead magnet. So you get in front of a group of 30 people who are interested to learn about low back pain and our low back function, and you can't give them everything all in 1 hour, but you can at least get them used to starting the conversation, starting to do self-care. So it's they like and trust you in that 1 hour session. They're probably going to want to work with you at some point, if not right away. What do you think about that?
Smile and wave. It's all true. It's all true. I'll do my number 4.
Okay.
So my number 4 is that expertise matters, right? So it's all about building credibility in front of folks. And so your level of expertise obviously is important. So it may require some preparation. You don't have to be the expert, but you have to have something to say. And if you feel that you don't, then find someone to partner with. So if you're on the clinical side and you think that there's some programming or some exercise components to it, find a coach, find a trainer that you think you could jive with, and bring them in to co-deliver with you. The flip side of that, if you're a personal trainer or coach, find a chiro or a physio nearby who espouses the type of, philosophy that you approach in terms of fitness and overall health, movement health, which is where we come from. Just make sure you guys are talking the same thing, and that if you can think about working with this person over time in terms of referrals, because this is what that's the whole point of doing these things, is to drive business. But expertise matters. So have something to say. It doesn't have to be 100% of what's out there. Find your 1% that you can be good at and talk about that, but expertise does matter.
I think that's good. I think it's important to mesh with, get to know other health professionals, coaches in your community, and a great way is to lead a workshop together, especially if you're on the same page and have the same philosophy. So
awesome. So your number 3.
So my number 3 is, it's a great way to meet your community and basically get to know people in the training environment that you want to treat in. So if you're treating in a CrossFit gym, or you're treating in a company, or you're treating in a traditional clinic, the one-on-one care is you're only meeting people that walk through your door, essentially, versus this, you literally planting yourself in a training environment, performance environment, lets you lend yourself to getting to know that community and building trust in that community. So I think it's really important to get out of your comfort zone, like I said in my number 5, and get to know the people that you want to treat. Because if there's a certain kind of clientele you want to treat, then you got to go out and find them, and you got to go out and introduce yourself. And this is a great way to do that.
Yeah. Now we started in the CrossFit community. Where do you find that type of folk? In a CrossFit gym. So.
And I started in the CrossFit community because I'm a veteran. I like high performance environments. I don't like your traditional setup. I don't like traditional PT. I don't like traditional gyms. It fits me. Do I always do CrossFit? No, but I like that environment. And I knew that my patients, I want to be around people that like that kind of training too.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. My number
What's
3?
your 3?
My number 3. So the experience and the energy starts with your marketing, but we're not going to talk about that. But it starts the moment, more specifically, it starts the moment people walk in the door. So if you don't want people just milling around and waiting for something to start. So you designate a party host, so to speak. So it's just like you are hosting a dinner at your house and people come in, they may not know each other. Somebody needs to be there to help introduce them, to warm them up, to help them feel like I'm a part of this group.
They need to wear a suit.
This is where you wear the skeleton suit. The whole premise is that you want to make this an experience where people feel included, and it's not just good manners, it's also good business, in that the psychology of folks when they're participating and they feel like, hey, this is my crew, I feel comfortable here, this is my tribe, it makes the workshop that much more energetic. And when your workshop energy is good, the outcomes are far better, both for the people and what they take away. It was fun, and therefore they retained a lot more of what you told them. Mm-hmm. But because it was fun and they retained a lot more, chances are that your credibility and your authority is raised in their eyes, and whatever your call to action is, you're going to get a little bit higher. You're going to get a little higher closure rate on that call to action. So welcome people, warm them up early before you start, so that you don't have to warm them up while you're delivering content.
Yes.
That's my number 3.
I like the number 3. Oftentimes it's at places when we do workshops, if early on, Per would be there with me, because it would just be me, and he would
I just break dance.
warm them up. Yeah. Can you show us an example?
No, I don't do that
How about-
anymore.
He's a good warmer upper. So, okay,
That's something to add to the LinkedIn profile.
warmer upper.
Warmer upper.
That's my term. Okay.
So how about your
Number two.
number 2? Penultimates.
So there's nothing like having to present in front of a group of people that gets you really clear on your principles of what you're trying to teach. So when you're in a practice, if you're a coach or you're a health professional, you always should be giving people information that's specific to what they need, right? It's if you're giving them an exercise to do or a movement, why are they doing it? What's the purpose behind it? So when you're teaching a workshop, what do you really want to tell people about low back issues? You're not just going to give them treat symptoms. If you are, you're not going to go very far. But if you're there to teach them about the causes of low back pain, then you have to get very clear on what those are. So teaching workshops has gotten me very clear on my education and how I educate and the principles behind whether it's the low back or if I'm teaching on the shoulder. What does pain mean? What is the causes, typical causes, common causes and abnormal causes, non-common causes of back pain? And so when you get clear on those, it really helps you, speak, right? Because when you speak, you want to speak of something you really know. So you want to practice speaking these principles. And then when you're in one-on-one training with people too, it's just, you're going to become a better educator. So
Yeah, that's the kind of premise where you put your own feet to the fire and forces you to get better at whatever it is that you're doing. So my number 2.
What's your number
my
two?
number 2 out of
In 5
top
minutes.
5 lessons learned. Always test and retest, right?
Yeah.
So from a clinical standpoint, it makes sense, right? Before the drill, after the drill. So you as the clinician or the hands-on practitioner can see the difference. But far more importantly is that you want people to get small wins in the workshop that are there, real time. So by them feeling greater range of motion, less pain, more stability, whatever the case is, the whole impact is, again, that psychology is, oh, check that out. I feel better. And so your job is to make sure that they have all those little micro yeses during the course of the workshop to say, yes, that feels better. Oh, my shoulder feels less stiff. My low back, my mid back, my thoracic, whatever, feels better. So you're leading to, again, in my mind, I'm not all about the numbers, but that's my role for these things, is that CTA. So micro yeses are part of this test and retest, getting them to feel comfortable and willing to take whatever the next step is because you are so awesome in what you've taught them. That's my number 2.
All right, and my number 1. So it's important to remind yourself that when you're in front of a group of people, you need to be entertaining, right? It's as much as you signed up to be a physical therapist, you went to school to be a chiropractor, medical doctor, coach. Well, people are going to come back because they're having fun learning about whatever it is that you're teaching them. So in this case, the low back, you have to make it fun. I cannot tell you how many videos I've watched with physical therapists, the stereotypical physical therapist with a polo shirt and Dockers, just talking straight to the camera without any dynamic movement, or even in presentations where it's just, they stand there, there's no hands-on, it's just speaking at people versus meeting them where they're at. So it's one thing I've learned is that from colleagues of mine who do very well at speaking is that not only are they smart clinicians, but they're very entertaining. And they make the principle that they're talking about fun and relatable to the person. And the people will remember those cues, those fun cues you give them, and the fun, maybe some of the fun jokes or whatever it is that you want to spice in there. It has to be you though. How can you make your message more entertaining to draw people in and trust you?
Yeah. I remember very early on from one of the first full day clinics that you did, you only need one ringleader in the audience to help everybody kind of warm up. And so recognize that, so if you start back to, I don't know, my number 5 or 4, warming people up early, it makes it easier for your jokes become funnier.
Yeah, and so make sure the jokes are relevant, but just have a, there's so many fun PT and movement things that you can say. But have like, I always start off with an icebreaker. Like it's a fun way to get to know people. We do push-up compliments, squat compliments. We do spirit animal. We just look up stuff online and
Lots of icebreakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your number one?
My number one is, so once the workshop's over, your work is only half done. So you've done all this work to prep, to deliver the workshop, but follow up. You got to follow up. So when you think about the workshop being a means to an end from an economic standpoint, you have to follow up with these folks, both from the call to action, you're delivering the services that people have signed up for in your call to action, but you also have follow up with the folks who attended. They may not have said yes to whatever your call to action is, but you still need to follow up with them. And there's probably a 2 or 3 week process of following up with folks afterwards to optimize your experience that you just created. So once you're done, it's not done. You still got a lot more work once the workshop is over. So
It's just the start.
just to start. Our 20 minutes of yapping is up.
There's a question though we have from Gerald. So do you recommend the skeleton model for the workshop or something else that can convey the things? Yeah, so we bring Skelly to local ones. We've definitely done that. It's super helpful because he's awkward. Like he's just standing there in the background, like acting weird.
He doesn't eat anything.
He's just standing there. But he can be a great model when you're describing causes of low back pain, like showing the thoracic spine where it is. Because we can throw that word around, but people don't know what bicipitals are, or they're supinators, or,
999.
Yeah, so it's people, we know anatomy very well in the world of if you're in the health business, but that doesn't mean the people in front of you do. So it's very helpful to show like the thoracic spine and where your hip joint is and why missing hip rotation or flexion or extension can really put pressure on the low back. So that visual is huge. And if you don't have a skeleton, get a skeleton outfit, put it on, or have someone else wear it, or just bring someone from the crowd up and demonstrate like, okay, your thoracic spine starts all the way up here and runs down to the top of your low back.
Turn around.
Oh yeah, and we've got our lovely
We use the shirts.
spine.
Part of the reason why there are thoracic spines on the shirts.
Yeah, so your thoracic spine mobility, you could focus on one area for the rest of your life. Anyway, but that's a great question. So yes.
So my comment on that would be you're driving credibility but making it accessible at the same time. And so these things do just that. So using big words is great as long as you can make the audience realize exactly what it is that on their bodies, what that means. And it helps drive your authority over time. But it's not, hey, they're just talking down to somebody. Hey, we're helping raise the level of conversation in the room by using these guides like Skelly.
Yes.
Or the shirt or a demo. So,
all right. Well, if you have any other questions, please put them in the comments. You will see this video on YouTube.
This will be in Facebook as in the group. We'll also post it to YouTube for those who prefer Google tools.
Yes. We're going to end with some danger zone. Okay, so.
The highway to the danger zone, workshops.
Okay, workshops, yes. Any questions, let us know. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.